Welcome. Today is Tuesday, July 28th, 2026. Coming up this hour, Virtual Beings, Briefing 1. Virtual beings are reshaping gaming, romance, enterprise, and art amid rising ethical debates. Virtual Beings, Briefing 2. Virtual beings gain ground through new tools, marketplaces, team building, and breakout products. Virtual Beings, Briefing 3. Virtual beings, digital humans, and robots increasingly blur the line between human and machine. And finally, world models and Meta-Anduril briefing. World models advance as Meta's superintelligence labs reshapes its research talent and hiring push. We begin with gaming and virtual influencers. Cortis, a music group represented by Big Hit Music, collaborated with the Roblox game Music Festival Tycoon for a virtual performance and avatar integration to coincide with their Lollapalooza Chicago appearance, featuring member-specific avatars. New Type, a virtual band from Banji Dream. Infinity Meter have character designs that function across both their in-universe virtual reality avatars and their real-world appearances, with their virtual look incorporating animal ears and bright colors to signal their online persona. The VTuber genre continues to see activity, with an Indonesian VTuber project from Aft Rain holding an audition for talent, and general community discussions around VTubers and virtual influencers continuing on platforms like YouTube. Next, technology and platform development. Meta has been developing its photorealistic codec avatars for a decade, aiming to create digital doubles driven by virtual reality headset sensors to achieve social presence, though the project has faced challenges with the uncanny valley and computational power, with a potential showcase expected alongside new ultralight hardware in 2027. Dassault Systems has added 3 air-powered virtual companions, named Aura, Leo, and MARE, to its 3DXBIC platform, designed to assist with program management, complex engineering, and deep science by reasoning and making decisions based on industrial knowledge, and has also unveiled the virtual twin factory concept, combining these agents with automated workflows. Mimic Minds has expanded its AI knowledge hub to cover AI avatars, digital humans, and conversational AI, providing insights for businesses on how these technologies are transforming communication and customer experience. Google and researchers from UC Riverside have developed Saga, a framework for source attribution of generative AI videos, which identifies the specific AI system that created a synthetic video by analyzing spatial and temporal patterns unintentionally introduced by the generator. In RE Companions and Emotional RE News, a wave of AI companion applications are reshaping personal interaction, with platforms such as Candy AI, Girlfriend GPT, Our Dream AI, and others offering customizable AI characters for roleplay and conversation, emphasizing features like persistent memory and voice interaction. HoloBot introduced the Olo Nye SS1 AI companion robot, a cyberpet designed for the home that proactively initiates conversation based on mood interpretation, uses facial recognition to learn family members, and expresses emotion through a multi-screen system. Neura Twin is described as an emotionally intelligent AI companion that learns and evolves with the user. Anu Nico, an experimental AI companion product from Anatakan that's centered on a cat-like AI with its own emotions and personality, has announced a permanent shutdown less than a year post-launch. Meanwhile, MyHoYo launched the beta for its AI virtual companion application, B-Side, Olivia Lynn, on Steam, which features a specific AI character for real-time communication and music listening. The broader cultural and ethical impact of AI companions is under scrutiny, with critics warning that tech companies are intentionally building these products to simulate emotional intimacy and encourage dependence, while some researchers suggest that for healthy adults, the risk of significant harm is relatively low. Now, cultural and artistic representation. Tencent launched Digital Jingdezhen, Porcelain Craft Adventure, an AI-powered game that recreates historical porcelain heritage sites and features AI digital humans built on large language models to interact with users about historical knowledge and craft techniques. In Japan, Big Blue Marble announced a proof of concept for media over QUIC during a major football championship. In the entertainment sector, Morpheus Studios produced a fully AI-generated 3-minute sequence for the Korean drama Agent Kim. Reactivated, using its AICRON platform, generating the protagonist's likeness, complex action scenes, and environments without any live-action footage. A recent study found that a vast majority of top health tip videos on TikTok feature AI-generated avatars posing as doctors, peddling false medical advice and non-existent products, prompting warnings from medical associations like the British Medical Association about the danger to public safety. Turning to enterprise and industrial applications, Synopsys has developed fully autonomous agentic workflows for chip design and electronic system design with NVIDIA technology, but these are for engineering process automation rather than virtual humans. Keyfactor announced its intent to acquire Coffide to bring verified identity to AI agents and cloud workloads, focusing on machine identity security. CrowdStrike has highlighted how adversaries are exploiting non-human identities and AI agents to expand the attack surface in enterprise environments. 8Co Holdings positions itself around a proof-of-human protocol via a large WorldCoin token holding, aiming to differentiate humans from AI agents. A Meta-led consortium of dozens of companies, including NVIDIA, Microsoft, and others, signed a letter advocating for open-weights AI models, warning against premature government restrictions that could stifle competition and handing the ecosystem to closed model providers like Anthropic and Amazon, who declined to sign. And finally, marketing and ethical contexts. AI-generated virtual influencers are increasingly becoming a force in brand marketing, with reports indicating that brands are turning to virtual personalities like Kyra in India and Lil Miquela globally for their creative flexibility, cost efficiency, and 24/7 content production capability. However, this has raised concerns about the authenticity of health advice online, as illustrated by an investigation revealing AI-generated doctors on TikTok promoting disproven cancer myths and fake supplements. On the regulatory front, new rules from China explicitly restrict AI companions and anthropomorphic services, requiring that they follow social and moral standards, not excessively cater to emotional dependence, and prominently remind users they are speaking to a chatbot. In the United States, the Federal Trade Commission has proposed a policy statement addressing the suppression of accuracy in AI systems, suggesting the agency could pursue AI companies that distort their outputs toward undisclosed objectives. We begin with enabling technology. Moonshot AI released the Kimi K3 model weights and a detailed technical report, introducing a 2.8 trillion parameter mixture of experts model with a 1 million token context window and native visual understanding. The architecture employs Kimi delta attention and attention residuals, with a stable latent MOE framework activating 16 out of 896 routed experts, which the company states yields a 2.5 times improvement in scaling efficiency over its predecessor, Kimi K25. Release also includes 3 open-sourced infrastructure components: MoonEP, a high-performance communication library for fine-grained MOE models; FlashKDA, a high-performance kernel for Kimi delta attention that achieves 22 times faster prefill speeds on NVIDIA H20 GPUs compared to a flash linear attention baseline; and AgentEnv, a sandbox system co-developed with KV Cache, AI for running agent environments at scale. Kimi K3 supports an OpenAI-compatible and Anthropic-compatible API, with the model weights provided under the Kimi K3 license. The model is positioned for long-horizon coding, agentic knowledge work, and multimodal tasks, with benchmark results reported against models including Claude Fable 5, GPT-5.6 Sol, and GLM 5.2 across coding, reasoning, and agentic benchmarks. Next, platforms and marketplaces. 0. Testing with the stock sample character and blend shapes. 0. Where enabling the Convai audio output component causes the application to stop responding in a packaged build, and disabling it prevents the crash, but also disables lip sync. Beta 13. where a packaged Windows shipping build of an Unreal Engine 5.7 project fails to launch on a fresh Windows 11 laptop, with Windows returning a bad image error for Convai HTTP helper, DLL, and error status 0xC0E90000, and 2 even after installing the x64 Visual C++ redistributable. In hiring and Teams news, an EQ COO Emma Lavelle published a commentary on the digital humans blog arguing that as AI amplifies human output, soft skills and character traits such as integrity, curiosity, and compassion become more critical to workforce success, and that companies should invest in continuous human skills development. She cited LinkedIn research indicating that 9 out of 10 global executives believe soft skills are more important than ever, and a leadership IQ study finding that 89% of new hire failures stem from attitude-related factors rather than technical skill deficits. And finally, products and vendors. Fable CEO Edward Sarch was referenced in an IMDb report, noting that the AI YouTuber character Gossip Goblin's official audience across YouTube and Instagram exceeds 600 million views, with the character's science fiction universe moving to a theatrical release. We begin with virtual influencers. The impact of virtual influencer style on consumer forgiveness propensity following service failures. Zyro, 2025, explores how the visual style of a virtual influencer, human-like versus cartoon-like, alters consumer forgiveness after a service failure. The work contributes to a growing literature on avatar design trade-offs in marketing contexts. Lifelike avatars, a study on performance and resource requirements in Ascenti, 2025, examines the computational cost and rendering fidelity of highly realistic avatar representations. By quantifying the resource demands of lifelike avatars, the paper provides practical benchmarks for platforms deploying virtual beings at scale. After Dark Until the Weekend, How Temporal Misalignment Shapes Consumer Responses to Anthropomorphic AI, Shin, 2025, investigates whether consumers react differently to anthropomorphic AI agents when interaction timing is incongruent with human schedules. The framing directly bears on virtual beings, presented as always available companions or service agents. Yape Yakinlik v. Synthetic Dialogler. ZQ Chat GPT-35 v Chat GPT-40 Almarka Etkalshimi v Parasocial Ilishkalari. SARP, 2025, studies parasocial relationships formed by Gen Z with conversational agents in brand interactions. While the agents examined are text-based, the parasocial bond framework is central to virtual being research, and the findings inform how dialogue-driven synthetic personas build consumer attachment. Transforming Service Experience Through Anthropomorphic, Chen, 2025, appearing in a volume on service innovation, addresses anthropomorphic design in service encounters. The focus on how human-like form and behavior transform customer experience situates the chapter within the virtual beings discourse, particularly for service-facing avatars and digital employees. Next, VTubers and virtual streamers. No on-topic results landed in the VTuber and virtual streamer query group today. In Digital Humans News, no on-topic results landed in the Digital Humans query group today. Now, virtual beings. When companionship becomes dependence, replica, emotional AI, and strategic boundaries in the AI companion economy, Derbler, 2025, analyzes the replica platform as a case of AI companionship that crosses into emotional dependency. Replica's customizable avatars and persona-driven interaction model make this a direct contribution to understanding long-term user relationships with persistent virtual beings. Turning to When Robots Feel Human. Impacts on Service Design and Branding, D'Ambrogio, 2025, discusses the implications of human-like robots and AI agents for brand strategy and service design. The chapter's concern with perceived humanness in synthetic service providers intersects with the conceptual space where virtual beings operate as branded touchpoints. Beyond immersion. New immersive learning, algorithmic management, and measurable employee awareness in service work, RUS 2025, appears in a service research conference program and examines immersive virtual environments for managing employee awareness. While the primary context is workplace training, the use of immersive avatar-mediated settings and algorithmic management of human behavior in virtual spaces qualifies the work as relevant to broader virtual being infrastructures. Next, mixed reality humans. No on-topic results landed in the mixed reality humans query group today. And finally, titles mentioned. The impact of virtual influencer style on consumer forgiveness propensity following service failures, Zyro 2025. Lifelike avatars. A study on performance and resource requirements, Innocenti 2025. After dark until the weekend. How temporal misalignment shapes consumer responses to anthropomorphic AI, Shin 2025. Yape Yakinlik v. Synthetic Dialogla. ZQ Shajanin Chat GPT 35V Chat GPT 40 Il Marker Etkelshimi v Parasocial Ilishkalari, SARP 2025. Transforming Service Experience Through Anthropomorphic Chen 2025. When companionship becomes dependence, replica, emotional AI, and strategic boundaries in the AI companion economy, Derbler 2025. When robots feel human. Impacts on Service Design and Branding, D'Ambrogio 2025. Beyond Immersion. New immersive learning, algorithmic management, and measurable employee awareness in service work, Russo 2025. We begin with world models research. A team at KAIST led by Professor Sungjin Ahn has unveiled a new world model paradigm called Learning to Theorize, alongside a neural architecture named Neural Theorizer that learns executable rules from observation rather than merely predicting the next frame. Instead of treating environments as patterns to forecast, the approach discovers reusable primitives, elementary operations such as rotation, movement, and coloring, and composes them into programs that explain why a change occurred. The system can recombine learned primitives into novel sequences it was never trained on, demonstrating compositional generalization that eludes conventional models which memorize entangled patterns as single units. The work, presented at ICML 2026 in Seoul, aims at what the team calls a world theory model, with potential applications across intelligent robots, autonomous agents, and AI-assisted scientific discovery. World Labs has acquired robotics company SeniX as it expands its spatial intelligence work into embodied AI. Founder and CEO Fei Li described the acquisition as a step toward systems that can understand, simulate, and operate across both virtual and physical worlds, noting that robotics represents one of the deepest promises of spatial intelligence. SeniX brings experience at the intersection of simulation and robotics, with technology already tested in live deployments on real hardware. World Labs previously introduced Marble, a system that generates explorable, persistent 3D environments, and views SeniX as moving toward the point where rendering, simulating, and planning capability lines collapse into unified AI. NVIDIA has released a surgical world model called Cosmos H Dreams that generates the operating field in real time, running at roughly 160 frames per second on a single RTX Pro 6000 GPU. The model was distilled from a slower offline teacher via a self-forcing distillation procedure and learns visual dynamics from paired surgical video and robot kinematics, predicting what the camera would see next given an initial frame and a stream of ARM commands. NVIDIA worked with CMR Surgical and Cambridge consultants to connect the model to the surgeon controller for the Versius platform and demonstrated it live at a robotic surgery conference in Florida in July 2026. CMR contributed nearly 500 hours of anonymized Versius procedure data to the OpenH embodiment dataset and describes the simulation as for research and demonstration purposes only, not part of the cleared Versius Plus system. NVIDIA's next step is evaluating closed-loop tests, including tooltip accuracy, gripper cycle fidelity, and agreement between simulated and real policy outcomes. iDreamEye has completed a RMB 1.5 billion Series C financing round, bringing its total funding over 3 months to more than RMB 2.1 billion and propelling the Beijing-based company into unicorn status. The round was co-led by the National Social Security Fund, Sichuan Revitalization Sci-Tech Innovation Fund, ICBC Capital, Hongyi Asset Management, and Dunhong Capital, with participation from regional government-backed investment platforms and film industry investors, including Shanghai Film New Vision Fund and Huis Film and TV. Founder and CEO Mei Tao said the funding will support development of native omnimodal world models, describing the evolution from multimodal AI to native omnimodal world models as an essential path toward artificial general intelligence. The company's High Dream O1 model series, based on its unified transformer architecture, achieved top global rankings on artificial analysis's text-to-image leaderboard earlier this year. And HiDreamEye introduced the Vivego R1 multimodal creative agent with long-form video generation and editing capabilities at WAIC 2026. Tencent's Hunyuan unit may be shifting focus toward frontier research on world models following a leadership change, according to reports. Han Hu, who headed multimodal understanding and worked on world models, has resigned. His successor is Tian Yonglong, a former OpenAI researcher who joined the Large Language Model Department in July 2026 and will oversee Vision Language Model R&D. Hunyuan head Yao Shunyu has been consolidating resources toward Foundation Model R&D, and the research group who previously led may redirect toward World Model Frontier Research. The shift comes as technical gains in multimodal understanding become more incremental and commercial returns remain uncertain, and it follows the July 2026 release of the Hi-3 large language model, Yao's first major model launch, which Tencent's benchmarks suggest approaches the performance of comparable mid-size models. ByteDance founder Zhang Yiming spends 50% of his time on Seed, the company's AI research team established in 2023, according to IDG Capital founder Su Zin. Seed focuses on large language models, speech, vision, world models, and AI infrastructure, and has already provided model capabilities for products including Dabao, Kui, and Jiming. Su Zin shared the detail on a podcast while advising another CEO to dedicate more time to model development, citing Zhang Yiming's commitment as an example even though Douyin is already a massive business. Dassault Systems has agreed to acquire Aris Global for as much as $2 billion, paying $1.8 billion in cash, with another $200 million tied to air-related revenue milestones. The deal represents Dassault's first major acquisition since removing its chairman in February 2026, following a steep share price decline, partly driven by concerns that world models and emerging AI tools could disrupt established software businesses. Dassault specializes in virtual twins of complex machines, and the Aris Global acquisition expands its exposure to AI-enabled software for drug development, regulatory compliance, and safety monitoring in the life sciences sector. Next, Meta Superintelligence Labs. Meta's Muse Spark 1.1 model, introduced on July 9, is powering new workflows for the company's AI email and calendar agent. The model was developed by Meta Superintelligence Labs and underpins an agent capable of managing scheduling and communications across a user's accounts, marking a concrete product application emerging from that lab. And finally, people and hiring. Former OpenAI researcher Tian Yonglong joined Tencent's Hunyuan Large Language Model Department in July 2026 to head Vision Language Model R&D, replacing Han Hu, who has resigned. World Labs announced that SeniX's team, including Yunju Li, Changxi Zheng, and Sunny Xirochen Hu, has joined the company as part of the acquisition. That's all for this hour's briefings. You can help improve this broadcast by supporting patreon.com/mendiBot. Thanks to all our patrons listed here.